Hi, everyone. Welcome back to God's Whispers, a place where we listen to the Word of God and reflect and hopefully apply to our daily lives. Today I'm going to be speaking about the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 12, verses 38 to 42. At this point in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus has already healed the sick, cast out demons, and restored others. The Pharisees and scribes were religious leaders, and they were demanding a sign, not out of faith, but as a test to trap or discredit Jesus. It states, "Then some of the Pharisees and teachers of the law said to him, 'Teacher, we want to see a sign from you.' He answered, 'A wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up at the judgment with this generation and condemn it. For they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and now something greater than Jonah is here. The Queen of the South will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she came from the ends of the earth to listen to Solomon's wisdom, and now greater than Solomon is here.' Jonah was a prophet who was swallowed by a great fish and spent 3 days and 3 nights in its belly before being spit out. Jesus uses the Jonah story as a foreshadowing of his death, burial, and resurrection. So it could be symbolized that Jonah was in the belly, just as Jesus was in the tomb, and then Jonah's return is just like Jesus' resurrection. So, and the city that he was referring to, Nineveh, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing it, was a wicked city that was repenting at Jonah's preaching. The Queen of the South was the Queen of Sheba, referred to in 1 Kings, chapter 10, traveled far to hear Solomon's wisdom. So Jesus' point was basically saying even pagans responded better to lesser messengers. Now something is greater here. The Messiah himself and his own people are rejecting him. So I think some journal prompts for this situation would be, when's a time that you asked God for a sign and what happened? And what signs of God's presence are already around you today? And then finally, how can I practice trust without needing more confirmation? I think the references to Jonah and the Queen of the South are to remind them that if other people believed in less, why do we sometimes demand the proof before we believe or act in faith? I hope this episode inspired you to maybe read some more of the Bible, to learn more about Jonah or the Queen of the South, or to continue listening to Jesus's parables. If this message resonated with you, please feel free to share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to continue to hear God's Whispers.